Hey there, welcome back to Locassa. I'm Rachel, and today we're diving into something crucial for anyone looking to get into Airbnb arbitrage, and that is going to be the 3 absolute must-haves before you even consider a property. So stay tuned because this could save you hours of wasted time and rejected applications. Before we jump in, let me be clear that having these 3 things ready isn't just about being prepared. It's showing the property owners you're a serious business operator who knows what they're doing. So let's get started. The number 1 thing that you're going to want to have before you sign a lease for Airbnb arbitrage is professional business documentation. This isn't just paperwork, it's your professional identity. So what you're going to need is a properly formed LLC with articles of organization. You're going to need your EIN letter from the IRS and a Dun & Bradstreet number. A lot of people don't think that they need a Dun & Bradstreet number, but I think it's super important because it basically is your business credit score. It builds your business credit score. For example, if you ever want to sign a lease with an apartment, that's going to be crucial because a lot of the times apartments do require a Dun & Bradstreet. Not always, but it's just something good to have. It's free, it doesn't take long to obtain, and like I said, it helps build your business credit. These documents alone show property owners that you're running a legitimate business. You're not just testing the waters. So I want you to kind of think of your business documents as your business passport. You wouldn't travel internationally without one, right? It's the same principle here. Next thing that you're going to need is proof of funds. So let me go ahead and break this down to you. Most property owners will want to see at least 3 times the monthly rent in reserves. You can either use your personal or your business bank statements. And if you're just starting out, don't worry, personal statements are perfectly fine as well. Also, if you don't have personal statements, maybe you are self-employed or you just have really large investment accounts or something of that sort, you can always provide those. Usually owners will take it as long as the amount in the reserves is upwards of 3 or more times the rent just sitting there. You'll also want to make sure that your statements are recent and clearly show your available balance. Remember, owners aren't just renting to you, they're renting to a business partnership. They need to know that you can handle the financial responsibilities, especially during slower months. Finally, and this might surprise you, but I would always have backup properties in mind. And here's why. Property owners can change their mind. They can change their mind at any time. It truly is up to their discretion who they want to lease to and who they do end up leasing to ultimately. You might have had the best conversation with an owner of your life and you're like, oh my God, this is great. They're going to lease to me. Everything's going to be amazing. We're going to run off into the sunset. Well, no. At the end of the day, owners can change their mind. They can say that they no longer want to do short-term rentals or arbitrage. They don't want to lease to a business. Maybe they talk to their insurance provider or a friend that let somebody Airbnb a property and they just told them about how it was a total shit show. Their whole property was ruined. It could be a million different things. Maybe they talk to their spouse and their spouse is now against it, or if they're an investor and they have a business partner. Like, you guys, a million things can go wrong. So for you to think that the first yes that you get or the first property that you find that is eligible for short-term rentals, you're just gonna pick up and everything's gonna be great, that's not always the case. And that's why it's good to set expectations. That's why it's good. That's why we never promise or guarantee any specific deal, because at the end of the day, we could go and we could get 100 owners that say yes to short-term rentals and Airbnb arbitrage. But if they change their mind, that's no fault of us. It's just they changed their mind. It is what it is. We cannot force them to sign on the dotted line. We cannot force them to lease to any one specific person. That's also another reason why we don't guarantee deals, because we don't know what your finances look like. We don't know what business documents you have. We don't know if you're serious or not. Like, there is no guarantee. So I always love to over-deliver and under-promise, provide you with great opportunities and even more backup opportunities if for whatever reason a deal falls through, either from the fault of the owner or because of the owner, or because you just decided it's no longer a good deal for you. Maybe you don't want it anymore before you sign the lease. You decide to back away. We're not going to scrutinize you for that. We just want to be able to help you find your next best deal. Okay. So another reason why you should have backups is because there can be competition in prime locations, and that can be fierce. So for example, if there's other people reaching out to the same owner outside of our organization that want to do the same exact thing, or even single families, right? Like, if there's actually a family that would be a great tenant for that property and they're ready to lease it today, well, they're probably going to get it, because I know that a lot of arbitrage operators, what we want is concessions. We want a lower rent price. We want flexible deposits. We want all these different things. Well, we might be in negotiations with the owner, but guess what? If a family comes in, or, just regular tenants come in and say, hey, I love the property, I'll lease it for what you have it for. They're not asking for concessions. They're not asking for a lower rent price and deposit. And even if they are, it's not to the extent that we are, right? So it's another thing. If we're in a prime market and you see a great deal, I'm big on like just snagging it, because you have to know your market, right? Or like if you're having a specific location that you're interested in, knowing, okay, once I find a deal that matches exactly what I'm looking for, I'm gonna move for it. Instead of being like, oh, well, will they lower the rent price? Will they offer concessions? Will they do this? Will they do that? Well, guess what? The longer you're in negotiation, the more antsy and the more eager the owner becomes. Therefore, the more questions and things that you request is just gonna irritate them. They might be a very flexible landlord, but if you're constantly dragging things along, if you're not moving with urgency, they don't appreciate that. So just keep that in mind. Competition in prime locations can be fierce, and therefore move with urgency when you find the right deal, regardless of concessions. If it makes sense for you and the numbers make sense, you know you can make it work and you're going to make money from the property, what we're seeing with the projections, go for it. Not everything has to be penny pinching, okay? Not that it is, not that it has to be, not that you can't. It's just you're not going to get as many deals that way. But if getting a great deal on a property and getting concessions is important to you, no matter what, no matter how good the numbers look, if you still want concessions regardless, go for it. Another one, market conditions might shift during negotiations. So for example, if for whatever reason the owner decides last minute, and we have had this happen, where they're like, you know what, I'm just going to sell the property. I want to sell the property. I don't want to rent. I'm going to get rid of it. It is what it is. It happens. Sometimes they just want to remove themselves from the property as a whole. They don't even want a tenant in there anymore. They don't want to have to deal with the tenant screening process. So they'd rather just sell it. Maybe that's an opportunity for you. If they decide that they want to sell it, well, guess what? You could come in and be like, well, have you considered a lease option? I'll still buy it from you. But if you're okay with not having all of that money up front, not getting the entire sale price up front and maybe waiting a year or two, then I would love to test this property out with a lease. I'll give you a little bit of money up front for this lease option to apply it to the future purchase price, and then we can go ahead and move forward. Like something like that. You guys, everything is so creative in real estate. There's no black and white, right? It's not like, oh, sign the lease or don't. No, there's a bunch of different avenues that you can take. And one of the exciting things that we started offering at LoCasa is now we're asking owners if they are open to a lease option. Because guess what? If you, most of the time, Airbnb arbitrage operators, you're coming in because you might not have the funds to purchase a home. You may not have the exact credit yet. You may not have the credentials yet, and that's okay. But when you're looking at an arbitrage property, if it's a single family home and it's an owner that potentially would be open to selling in the future, that's a perfect opportunity for you, because if we get them to say that they're open to a lease option, you can come in, lease the property for a couple of years, work towards getting approved from a lender, or even some type of creative deal like seller finance with the owner. And then that Airbnb property that you know is generating revenue for you, that is making you money over these next couple of years, you can eventually own it. It can be an asset. You can start building wealth. You can get all the tax benefits, the write-offs, the depreciation, the appreciation, so many different things, right? So that's why I love creative. I love anything creative, and guess what? Like I said, nothing is black and white. Nothing has to be so or not so. It just depends, right? Everything is dependent. So just keep that in mind. And then lastly, maybe you've been communicating with this owner. Everything is so great. This seems like a perfect property for you. You're super excited. You're ready to move forward. You go and you tour it, and then maybe you have a handyman of yours, or you and your partner go in and you guys notice that there's a ton of property issues, or there's some maintenance concerns, or maybe it's not up to the standards that it looked like in the photos. Well, guess what? If your perfect property has hidden issues or issues that you can tell need to be fixed, you need to then address it with the owner right away before you sign that lease. Once you sign that lease, it can be pretty tough. So make sure that you address any type of property concerns prior to signing the lease. And as much as we may think that we found a perfect property, and as much as we believe, oh, this is the one, these maintenance issues, I think I can like overlook them, that's where you're wrong. That's where the issues can really arise, because if you sign the lease just because you think it's this perfect property, well, it won't be so perfect when you start having things compound, right? Or when the owner refuses to fix certain items. Well, then what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna shut down your listing? Are you gonna stop collecting income? Are you gonna stop Airbnb? No, you have to work around it. You have to fix the issues yourself and then hope that they'll reimburse you. I mean, you guys, it can become a huge thing. So if you're talking to a landlord and you realize that there's some issues with the property, and you would address these concerns with the owner, and they're like, no, I'm not gonna fix it, it comes as is. You know, and they're not like hazards, or they're not foundational issues. Well, if they don't fix them and you don't wanna pay to fix them, you may have to walk away. And that's why I always tell people, don't get too emotionally involved. On top of that, you're renting. Why are you emotionally involved in a rent? You know? So I definitely wouldn't be too gung-ho on any one property because there's always another deal. There's always another deal. Every day. Every day we have new deals. Every week we have tons of new deals. So just keep that in mind, guys. Don't be too emotionally invested, but at the same time, don't be such a stickler like, hey, that light bulb's out. I'm sure that they're willing to fix certain things, but at the end of the day, you're renting and there's gonna be wear and tear on the property. You just have to keep that in mind. You have to also be willing to put some money forward. Not that it has to be done at the beginning, I'm just saying over time. I digress. So I know that finding just one promising property can feel like striking gold. And when you see something you really like, you just want to jump on it. But having backups isn't just about being prepared. It's about maintaining your negotiating power and keeping your business momentum going. Because if you only have one option that you're really considering and you don't have any backups, if that one option falls through, I don't want you to be like, oh, well, didn't work. Like, gotta move on, gotta do something else now. No. You just need to find another property that aligns with what you're looking for, that aligns with your property requirements and your criteria. And it's ideally best that you find it sooner rather than later. So it's like, okay, that didn't fall through, let's move on to this one. Okay, that didn't fall through, we have this other one in the pipeline. Having other deals in the pipeline is so crucial because guess what? If you pick up a deal 1 month and then you say, okay, I want to pick up a deal in 3 months, and you're looking at deals, and in 3 months, the one deal that you were looking at falls through, and then you find yourself waiting another 3 months, and then another 3 months, and then another 3 months, well, how are you ever going to scale? If your goal is to scale, if your goal is to pick up more properties, if your goal is to pick up a certain amount of properties within a certain amount of time, well, then you have to be willing to have backups. Because again, just like anyone purchasing a home, especially an investor that wants a good deal on a home, you're going to have to submit some offers. You're gonna have to reach out to multiple landlords. And if you're not doing it yourself and you have a company like us that's doing it for you, well, it's important that we keep your search going, that we keep looking for properties that align with what you want, with your criteria, with what would be good options based on what you're looking for. So I just want people to keep that in mind, right? Because when you find that one property, again, you are not the only potential tenant that they have, more than likely. So what does that mean? That means you need to move with urgency. That means you need to work out terms fairly quickly. That means if you're gonna go view the property, you better go do it. Like, everything needs to be handled in a somewhat quick pace, but still with due diligence as you go. Like I said, that benefits everyone involved. It benefits you because you can close on that deal. Even if you don't want to start the lease for like another month, at least close on it, right? If you can get those concessions, if you can get the owner to agree to that, or if the availability date is in a few weeks, just because the home isn't available for a few weeks doesn't mean that they're not considering other options. They're not considering other tenants. So again, you want to be that first person in line. You want to be that first option for them. And the only way that you're going to do that is with moving with urgency, having the things that you need ready to go when the time comes, and then ultimately, if it doesn't work out, having those backups. Now, I know what you're thinking, Rachel, it's hard enough to find one property that works, let alone multiple backups. Well, that's exactly why we created LoCasa. Maybe you're a client with us or a potential client, but our marketplace features properties that are all pre-approved for Airbnb Arbitrage, saving you countless hours of searching and rejection. Every property listing on LoCasa.com includes direct owner approval for short-term rentals. So these are owners that have already raised their hand and said, yes, I'm open to Airbnb Arbitrage. Yes, I'm open to a corporate tenant coming in and leasing the property and then subleasing it back out. It also includes comprehensive regulation information in over 300 different markets that we've already searched in over the last few years. So this will include steps to obtain a permit, what's needed, the intensity of the regulations, and then of course, resources for you to go and look yourself. Another great thing that all the listings include are detailed yearly projections. So this is usually from AirDNA, Rabu, or if it's a property takeover, will include previous revenue or even P&L statements. And that's what you can expect from all the listings on our website. Every single property that you see on LoCasa.com will come with information that includes those items. So if you want to skip the uncertainty and start scaling your STR business, go to LoCasa.com and you can view all available opportunities ready to lease for Airbnb Arbitrage today. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We're constantly sharing STR success strategies that could help take your business to the next level. This is Rachel from LoCasa, and I'll see you on the next video.